Evaluating the effectiveness of clinical decision support systems, CDSS. Evaluating the effectiveness of clinical decision support systems, CDSS, is essential to ensure that these systems deliver meaningful benefits in terms of patient outcomes, workflow efficiency, and safety. It involves assessing the system's performance against specific metrics, gathering user feedback, and implementing continuous improvement processes. Below are key aspects of evaluating CDSS effectiveness. 1. Key metrics for evaluating CDSS performance: impact on patient outcomes, efficiency, and safety. Impact on patient outcomes. Clinical outcomes. The primary goal of CDSS is to improve clinical decision-making, which should ultimately lead to better patient outcomes. Key metrics include the reduction in adverse events, improvements in disease management, e.g., better control of diabetes or hypertension, and enhanced recovery rates after procedures. Example: tracking the incidence of medication errors or adverse drug events, ADEs, before and after the implementation of CDSS can indicate whether the system has successfully contributed to patient safety. Example: measuring clinical outcomes such as the reduction in hospital readmissions or improved survival rates in high-risk patient populations, which might be impacted by CDSS guidance on treatment protocols. Patient satisfaction. It's important to assess whether the use of CDSS improves the overall patient experience. Metrics can include patient-reported satisfaction with their care, their perception of the timeliness and accuracy of treatment, and their confidence in the care they receive. Example: patient surveys may reveal increased satisfaction when CDSS helps reduce wait times, improves diagnosis accuracy, or enhances communication with providers. Efficiency. Time savings. One of the main benefits of CDSS is its ability to streamline clinical workflows. Efficiency can be measured by tracking the time spent on tasks before and after CDSS implementation, such as clinical decision-making, documentation, or response to alerts. Example: clinicians may spend less time searching for clinical guidelines or reviewing patient data manually because CDSS can provide instant, evidence-based recommendations. Cost effectiveness. CDSS may contribute to cost reductions by reducing the need for unnecessary tests, procedures, or hospitalizations. Tracking the overall healthcare cost reduction and ROI, return on investment, after CDSS adoption can provide valuable insights. Example: measuring the reduction in unnecessary diagnostic tests due to CDSS-driven decision-making, or tracking the financial impact of preventing medication errors and hospital readmissions. Safety. Reduction in adverse events. One of the most important measures of CDSS effectiveness is its role in preventing patient harm. This includes a decrease in adverse drug events, ADES, medication errors, diagnostic errors, and clinical deterioration. Example: monitoring the frequency of medication-related errors or the occurrence of severe drug-drug interactions, DD, is before and after CDSS implementation. Example: assessing whether the early detection of clinical deterioration, e.g., sepsis or heart failure exacerbations, through real-time alerts has led to better patient outcomes. Error reduction. CDSS should also be evaluated on its ability to minimize clinical errors, such as misdiagnoses or improper treatment plans. This can be tracked by comparing diagnostic accuracy rates, error rates, or instances of preventable complications. Example: reviewing audit data to determine whether CDSS helps reduce the number of missed diagnoses, e.g., early signs of cancer or heart attacks, or incorrect prescriptions. 2. Assessing user feedback and system usability. User feedback and system usability are critical to understanding how clinicians interact with CDSS and how it fits into their workflow. The success of CDSS largely depends on clinician acceptance and engagement, so continuous assessment of usability is essential. User satisfaction surveys. Regular surveys should be conducted to gather feedback from clinicians about their experiences with CDSS. These surveys should assess ease of use, relevance of recommendations, and the perceived value of the system in aiding clinical decision-making. Example: survey questions might ask clinicians whether they find the system's alerts and recommendations helpful, whether it reduces their cognitive load, or if they encounter any challenges in using the system. Usability testing. Formal usability testing should be performed to identify potential issues that could affect clinician engagement. This may involve structured observation of clinicians using CDSS in real-time clinical settings, identifying any barriers or workflow disruptions caused by the system. Example: conducting usability studies to determine if the CDSS's user interface is intuitive and if clinicians can easily navigate through recommendations or alerts without being overwhelmed. Clinician engagement. Metrics such as the frequency of CDSS usage and the adoption rate among healthcare providers can be tracked to assess the level of clinician engagement. Low usage rates may indicate that the system is not meeting clinicians' needs or that they are not confident in the system's recommendations. Example: analyzing whether certain departments or specialties are using CDSS more actively than others and investigating reasons for underuse in specific groups. Clinical workload and workflow. Integration. Assessing how well CDSS integrates into clinicians' daily routines is key to understanding its effectiveness. If the system saves time and helps clinicians make decisions faster, it is more likely to be used regularly. Example: feedback from clinicians on whether CDSS integrates smoothly into their existing workflows, such as providing recommendations at point of care without causing unnecessary interruptions. 3. Continuous improvement of CDSS algorithms and decision-making support. The effectiveness of CDSS is directly tied to the accuracy and relevance of its algorithms. Continuous improvement in the underlying algorithms and decision-making support is essential to maintain and enhance system performance. Data-driven algorithm updates. As healthcare knowledge evolves, CDSS algorithms must be updated to reflect new clinical evidence, guidelines, and best practices. Regular updates to the clinical decision-making logic are essential to ensure that the system remains relevant. Example: algorithm updates to incorporate new evidence-based guidelines, such as updated treatment regimens for hypertension or the latest diagnostic criteria for chronic diseases. Machine learning and predictive analytics. CDSS can be enhanced by incorporating machine learning algorithms that learn from ongoing patient data. This can improve the system's predictive capabilities, such as identifying patients at high risk for certain conditions based on real-time data inputs. Example: implementing machine learning models that continuously analyze patient data, e.g., vital signs, lab results, and predict outcomes such as sepsis or cardiovascular events, improving early intervention. Error, reporting, and feedback loops. A robust system for reporting errors and unexpected outcomes is essential for ongoing improvement. Clinicians should be able to flag cases where the CDSS's recommendations were inaccurate or irrelevant, providing valuable insights into system weaknesses. Example: a feedback loop where clinicians report situations where the CDSS provided incorrect recommendations, and these cases are analyzed to fine-tune the algorithm. User-informed enhancements. User feedback is invaluable in improving CDSS. Regularly soliciting feedback from clinicians about specific aspects of the system, such as alert fatigue or outdated recommendations, allows for iterative improvements based on actual user experiences. Example: incorporating clinician suggestions into future updates, such as refining the user interface, simplifying alert categories, or enhancing recommendations with more context-specific data. Performance monitoring and benchmarking. Establishing key performance indicators, KPIs, to monitor the system's performance is vital for identifying areas of improvement. Benchmarking CDSS performance against industry standards or similar healthcare institutions can help identify gaps and opportunities for optimization. Example: periodically reviewing CDSS outcomes against benchmarks like clinical guideline adherence, diagnostic accuracy, or hospital readmission rates.